Hey there, folks. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy, and I'd appreciate it if you'd be willing to check out my sponsor, Dubby at G.I.G, for their energy drink products. They're more of like a powder that you can put into water that can be used to replace buying carbonated energy drinks and sodas. My favorite that they have is the Dragonade. I like it a lot. I'm probably going to get more of it soon. But if you're just trying to dip your toes in, they do have a sampler bundle that you can get that comes with a tumbler that you can use for mixing your drinks. You can go on over to w.gg or the link down in the description and use the code THEGIG, the gig, in order to get a 10% discount. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Hey there, folks. It's Andre, the Game Idea Guy, and so I got to talk about a specific journalist who I've generally followed, and it seemed to not toe too far off of the line. He usually kept things down the middle as far as I could see. Maybe I didn't see some stuff. But Tom Warren got to playtest Deadlock, which is the game that Valve has their team working on since they haven't released anything directly from themselves in a while. And he pulled one of the grossest, most shiftiest moves that he can when it comes down to trust and NDAs and stuff, when it comes down to end user license agreements and things like that. When you are working on an incomplete build of a game, or you are allowed to playtest an incomplete build of a game. Now, I make no secret of it that I do play testing. Sometimes I'm not consistent because of other life things that go on, but I do get invited to play test games. The only time you see anything pop up on my channel about a game I have play tested is when I have gotten express written permission from the developers of said game. That's it. The only time you've seen it is when I've gotten permission from the developers of the game, either the developers or whoever's publishing it. And you'll notice you haven't seen any other pop-ups for Beta Testers Corner because I haven't gotten permission. This to me is a gross way to treat trust that has been built in you for your work. I don't care if you're doing it for an article. I don't care if you think you're going to be funny. I don't care if you think that you can get away with this, because what you just did, whether you realize it or not, was screw the other people who do playtesting. The people that do it and get paid for it are going to have a harder time getting playtests now from bigger companies. Everybody will have to start going back down to the indies, and probably specifically only indies, which means that playtesting will be specifically and probably only done in-house. You were allowed to playtest something that is an early build of a game that is not completely representative of the game in order to give feedback about the game because of your position in the games industry. And you took that and decided to twist it and try to make an article out of something you were told explicitly not to share. Even if you decided to, hit the escape key to avoid clicking through the end user license agreement and avoid accepting what would be technically the NDA, you're still under the NDA of the product because you are getting it under the trust that you will not say anything about it. Now you've made it harder for people who have already established trust to be trusted going forward. We've already had enough problems with leakers doing this. Now we have someone who's well known officially doing this. It's negligent of all of the other people that are around. Not a day in my life have you heard me tell anyone about the games that companies have said, we don't want this talked about because we're still developing this game. We just want your feedback. That's all you were supposed to do. That's all you were supposed to do. You weren't supposed to use this as an opportunity to jump the gun and do a report on it, because more than likely you would have had the opportunity to do it later, and you would have been allowed to talk about your experience being a part of the testing phase. But because you decided to be a complete and utter grossly disgusting jackass, you have messed everything up for other people. Not to mention somebody who probably is a new bright-eyed gaming journalist who's probably coming into this purely trying to be a part of the industry. Now you've also made it harder for them to be able to build up themselves, even though games journalists right now really aren't looked at all that well. But you just made it worse. You've made it harder for people to turn that image around into something potentially positive. And the thing is, I don't get why. You would think you know a little bit better. You've been around for quite a while. But I guess when it's better to, when it's better in your mind to be first instead of having everything as correct as possible, this is what happens. I don't get why someone would do something like this. I don't understand why someone would do something like this, and all that has happened is just that I'm irritated, because I know how hard it was just to get picked to do some of the beta tests I've done, just to get picked for some of the alpha and beta tests I've been a part of that weren't public. I know how hard it was just to get picked. You had a get out of jail free card to get in there, and you just ruined it. It's nonsense. Like, it's complete and utter nonsense. Oh man, it's like people are just getting grimier and grimier as time goes on, and we've already had a bunch of grimy stuff going on and people doing things that they probably shouldn't do, and it's just getting worse. As time goes on, more and more people are leaning into, ooh, what way can I get around something that I know I shouldn't? And for Tom Warren, who should understand that even if you try to deny the EULA, it still applies to you because you have the product. It still applies to you. When you use the product, it still applies to you, even if you try to skip it. Because at that point, you're acknowledging that you know what it is, so you're trying to avoid it. And if you're doing that, you're still doing something that is technically illegal. All for the clicks, right? All for the clicks. This is the type of stuff that ruins things for other people. Now, I don't know if any of the firms that I am tied to will get any more major third-party test alphas or betas. I don't know that now because of you as an individual. Granted, I wasn't in all of them, but I still see them pop up in my emails from time to time. And I am very, very irritated. I am ticked off. It's more so not even for myself, but because I know that there are people that make testing a living for themselves, so they require to be able to do it on a regular basis, and you just made that job harder for someone to be contracted to do this job. I'm low level myself, so it doesn't affect me the exact same way. Even if I am ticked off by it, it doesn't affect me the same way. But there are others who do this for a living who are now going to have to work harder to prove themselves because of your actions. Great job, Tom Warren. Great job. This is Andre the Game Idea Guy, and I'd like to thank you once again for tuning in. If you would be interested in supporting my efforts in content creation, please head on over to Amazon and look up The Game Idea Guy Presents Gaming Word Search, and you will find both Volume 1 and Volume 2 up for sale. Thank you very much once again, and I hope to be able to create more content for you in the future. Peace out.